What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back. We get to talk to Grant Dawson today, one of the top lightweights in the world. He's got a fight coming up against Mateusz Rebecki, at UFC 328 on March 9th. Welcome back, Grant. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Thank you for coming on the show. I know that one of the Polish lightweights, Mateusz Gamrot, is a teammate of yours. Has Rebecki ever come through as well? Have you ever trained with him?
Yeah, so when I first came here like 3 or 4 years ago, we had gotten some training in together, but his style of training isn't, super. It isn't my style of training, and not that there's anything wrong with it or anything like that, but it just we didn't mix super well. Not that you know any bad blood or anything like that. We just didn't train super well together. So he's been in, and I've seen him when he came to fight Chris. He was here, uh, but I haven't actually physically trained with him in probably three and a half years.
Gamrot or Rebecki?
Rebecki.
Rebecca. Okay, okay. I guess you left me curious. Why didn't you guys click?
I mean, he just has a way of training that doesn't, you know, that's not my ideal way of training. So that's really all I can say on it. But yeah, we just we just didn't mix well. Not personality wise. We talk whenever he's in the gym, and I got nothing against the guy. And there's nothing wrong with the way that he trains. Just something that works for him doesn't necessarily work well for me.
Is it hard to break in a lightweight when they come to town? I mean, you went through it, years ago as well. But in a big gym, you got your, I don't know if you want to call them clicks, but people that have spent time there, and then a new guy comes in. How long do you guys kind of chat between you all before you can start divulging secrets, helping them get better when in the end you might fight?
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily so much of secrets. I think anybody that has seen me fight once knows what I'm gonna do. Um, and I think it's pretty clear what he's gonna do. So I'm not super worried about that. But I guess like the only thing would be like, somebody comes in, there is a little bit of a process, unless he's a named guy. You kind of watch how he goes with other guys to see if he's safe, to see if he's going to be, jumping heel hooks and cranking as hard as he can. Especially in a room that's so big, there's just no need to go with those guys. And Rebecca's not like that at all. I'm just using that as an example. With a room so big like that, there's just no reason to risk an ACL or risk a neck or risk, an arm for training when you have so many other guys that you already know are super safe.
Did you click from day one with ATT when you first moved there?
Yeah, I knew Johnny Eblin from his time in Missouri. So when I came in right away, he got me with Tiago Moises, and me and Tiago clicked right away. Probably because Tiago was submitting me every 10 seconds, so he probably enjoyed going with me a lot back then. But yeah, and honestly, if you come in and you're willing to help people and you're willing to spar with people and help them get ready for their camps, most people are pretty good about returning that in kind.
You came through one of the early seasons of Dana White
The
Contender
first
Series.
season.
Yeah. So we're, I think, 8 years removed from that. You came in at 24. You're 32. How would you say things have played out? And are you happy with where you're at? How big is this fight coming up for you right now?
I mean, yeah, to answer your first question, I think other than being undefeated and in the running for a title, I can't be much happier. The UFC is paying me an amount of money that I never thought I would make in my entire life. So I have to work 2 days a year to live a life that I absolutely adore. And this is a big fight. This is a big fight for me. This is going to show that I'm still top level. Uh, Rebecki's coming off of a couple of losses, but those losses are, you know, and his win over Orabai are fight of the year contenders. Everybody knows how tough he is. Everybody knows that he's not going to give up, even if I get his arm or his neck. I just don't see this guy tapping. I do think I will finish him, but mentally I am prepared for 15 minutes of war if need be.
Grant Dawson, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He's fighting at UFC 328 in Newark, New Jersey in about 3 weeks or so. So we're getting close. Goes, what do you have for Grant Dawson?
Grant, when you hear that your opponent is going to be, of aggressive nature, right, an aggressive type of fighter, is it music to your ear? Because it's such a fine line, right? If the aggression doesn't go your way, you kind of put yourself in a rough spot where somebody who knows what they're doing can take advantage of what you just did. Do you like that, or do you like more the puzzle solving guy?
I think they're all puzzles to solve. There's a reason why the best fighters in the world aren't just aggressive brawlers. You have your outliers like Justin Gaethje and so on. But I think this is more of a thinking man's game than a lot of people give it credit to. I think there's a lot more strategy than people give it credit to. And absolutely, he's insanely tough, and he's a goer, and he's a sprinter for 15 minutes, and that's a hard style to deal with. But I think when you have guys that come in here uh, that can also be tough, can also push paces, can also hit hard and wrestle, and know how to stick to a game plan, I think that's where he's going to run into some trouble. He's been beat by guys that have outsmarted him. I thought Ludovic Klein did a really good job of sticking to a game plan and was up 2-0, and then he tore his knee in the third round and still ended up winning the fight because he was so far ahead. I think that's where I'm going to have the success. I think being smart, not getting drawn into brawls. However, if they do happen, being ready with takedowns or certain weapons that I can utilize in this fight.
Grant, you talked about this being a very important fight, and I agree. But when your name is brought up, often we say things like, "Man, that's a tough cat. That's a really good fighter." I know the last fight didn't go your way, but do you feel like you could still kind of recapture some of that momentum going in and add it to the result of this fight?
I think it depends on how this fight goes. Rebecki went to a split decision with Orabai. Orabai lost, and now everybody's talking about Orabai. So it's if I win a split decision against this guy, I don't think I'm going to get a ranked guy next. I don't think I'm going to get a big name next. But if I can get a knockout, or a submission, Lord willing, then I think that puts me in the line of, okay, Grant got caught by Torres, or just at least, okay, Grant lost to a really, really good fighter who's Torres. Maybe let's see how he does against a top 15 guy that isn't Torres. It really just depends on how this fight goes. I'm not looking too far ahead because I've had fights where I've had really amazing performances and I thought, okay, my next fight's going to be top 5 for sure. And then it's an unranked guy. Or, okay, I've had a great performance against this guy, dominated him. They've got to give me somebody, super high up in the rankings now. And then I'm on the bench for a year and the only guy we can find to fight is this giant Mexican who swings super hard. So for right now, my main focus is winning this fight. There definitely won't be a big name if I lose. So winning comes first, good performance comes second. Hopefully a finish comes third.
We were speaking to John Anik earlier, and we were talking about when we first started our show, when he first started broadcasting, and how different the game is, the preparation, and all that. When we first started, somebody taking a fight on short notice didn't happen that often. There weren't as many cards. But now is that almost something that people are just saying there aren't really camps as much anymore? They're just kind of in there all the time because of these opportunities. Is it something you would entertain if it meant you got to fight more? Because sometimes it seems like it's hard to get these fighters fights.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always in the gym. Short notice for me is can I make the weight? I'm always in shape. I'm always ready to go. But I'm a decent sized lightweight. I'm no Islam Makhachev by any means, but I am decently sized. So I do need I would say at least 5. I could probably do it in 4 if the matchup's right. But I'm in the gym every day. I'm constantly helping guys get ready for their fights, and I'm ready to go. And I do want to fight more, but I think my issue isn't so much the weight; it's more so that I'm a tough fight, with not a lot of reward. Not a whole lot of people know who I am. I mean, I think the diehards do, but this sport isn't built off diehards. It's built off casual fans, and let's just be honest, casual fans don't really know who Grant Dawson is. Hopefully that'll change after this fight. Hopefully, I'll get something, somebody needing me to step in on short notice to fight somebody with a name. I beat them, and then the fights start rolling in. But all you can do is stay ready and hopefully take the fights as they come. I've been offered one short notice fight in my entire career, and that was against who was it? Mads? No. Yeah, no, not Mads. I can't remember who it was against. But I actually missed weight for that fight, so I was like, if I can't do that again, I can't miss weight again. So I need the right amount of time to make the weight and be professional.
I'm just curious. PFL Anthony Pettis, is he your boy? Are you guys good friends, or your T-shirt?
Oh, oh, I was like, what are you talking about? No, I've never met Anthony. I cornered my buddy Dakota Bush for his PFL debut, and they were just handing out a bunch of these shirts. And so I literally just threw one on today, and I didn't even realize I was wearing it. I was very confused by what you were saying. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, even though it's a worldwide sport, it's a close-knit community. And I thought, okay, Anthony used to train at Duke Rufus. He moved to Vegas. He is managed by Kawa out in Florida. I wonder what the connection is here. But I was just curious.
I just like free shirts. That's it.
You have been on numbered events for your last 5 cards, so at least you're getting the fans. You're getting on big cards, and usually the big cards are the ones that kind of move the needle a little bit, when it comes to media and things like that.
Yeah, there's pros and cons though. If it's a big card, you're going to have a lot more fans there, but you're probably going to be earlier. Somebody like me is probably going to be earlier on the card, so there'll be less fans there. Also, my style is not the most entertaining style. Not a lot of guys like the white Christian wrestler. So there's give and take. At least in the apex, I'll be higher up on the card, and there's a lot better chance of me winning bonus money. There's pros and cons. It doesn't make a difference to me. I'm just here to do my job and fight.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it's a good test. The Polish fighters have always done well in the UFC. Rebecki's a really solid lightweight, and obviously you've done hella work. Like what do you like 10-2-1? I think since you've come through the UFC, it's a very impressive UFC record. So now it's just a matter of getting on another win streak, and obviously getting past this fight, but then going up the rankings. I mean, what I'm trying to say is a lot of fighters would like to be 10-2-1, and have your resume.
Yeah, for sure. I'm 11-2-1, by the way. But yeah, yeah, no, you're right. Right now, it's about putting on performances, getting wins racked up, building that wealth and that security, and then hopefully, like I said, I think I can get back into the top 15 by just winning fights. But to really put my name into the hat for top 5, I think it's going to be, somebody like Patty or Benoit needs a short notice opponent. Grant's the only guy that's, able to make the weight. Let's give him his shot. And then, Lord willing, I win that fight. And now people know who I am.
Would you say that in the Torres and Green fights, they just got you? Kudos to them, or can you right away pinpoint errors you made that you made it too easy for them to get their hands raised against you?
Man, I don't know. I don't particularly believe in luck. Bobby Green made a really good read, and I jumped into that cross, which he hit me with a cross, by the way. People keep saying I get knocked out by a jab, but he's a southpaw, so it was a cross. But whatever. I maybe should have wrestled a bit sooner. And then, Torres is just so good. I think he's going to have a very bright future. He was so big, he was so strong, and he's hit me harder than anybody's ever hit me. It's funny because he hit me with this weird combo, and I remember ducking under one punch, and then he hit my shoulder on a second punch, and it was so hard. I was like, wow, I'm really glad that didn't hit me in the face. And then he just hit me with this random uppercut that just put me down. Didn't really know what was going on, and he got the win. He's a phenomenal fighter, and so is Bobby Green. I didn't get into this sport to be perfect. I didn't get into this sport to beat Bobby Green and Torres. I got into this sport to be world champion. Charles Oliveira has lost to plenty of people he shouldn't have. Everybody other than Ilia Topuria has lost to plenty of people they shouldn't have. It's gonna happen. That's just life. Get back on the horse. Keep trying. All these fans telling me to quit. If every UFC fighter quit when the fans told them to, we'd have no show. So, well, except for Ilya, we'd have no show. So I'm gonna keep doing my thing and keep working towards that belt.
It's a good attitude. Thank you so much for jumping on the show with us. Best of luck with the rest of your camp and your weight cut, and I hope you have a great fight on May 9th at UFC 328.
Appreciate it, guys.